Now let's take a look at new automation functions that are built into Camera Raw. And I have to tell you, those of you who use Camera Raw are going to be delighted by this. Photoshop CS2 and the Bridge, both of them independently allow you to batch process Camera Raw images. I'm going to go to the Bridge so that we can actually see this at work. I'll click on this little folder icon on the right side of the options bar there. And I'm going to switch to this folder right here that contains a bunch of different raw images of our DJ. And notice that they're all looking pretty darn dark. These images were shot under low light, but it turns out we can correct them, of course, as those of us who know Camera Raw, you know that you can bring out all sorts of detail inside of an ultra light or an ultra dark photo. What I'm going to do, these are all CRW images. I'm going to go ahead and select all of these images, and I'm going to right-click on any one of them. So instead of choosing Open, which would go ahead and open these images inside the Camera Raw dialog box inside Photoshop, I'm going to go ahead and choose Open in Camera Raw, which will open the Camera Raw dialog box directly inside the Bridge. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this command. We'll see the Camera Raw dialog box up on screen, and notice what I now have running down the left-hand side of this screen is a scrolling list of all of the images that I might want to process inside the Camera Raw dialog box. Now, right now, the very first image is selected. I want to draw your attention to the right-hand side of the screen here. And notice that we have the exact same white balance controls, exposure, shadow, brightness, all those same controls that we had in previous versions of Camera Raw. But we also have these auto checkboxes here, which tell Photoshop to make its best guess as to how these various options should be set. So if I turn on auto for exposure, it's going to dramatically brighten up this image. And it's going to give us better shadows, actually lighter shadows. If I turn on shadows, brightness is going to calm down a little bit. Contrast is going to go down as well, just slightly when I turn on these checkboxes. It's worth noting that these checkboxes are turned on by default, which means Photoshop CS2 is automatically doing a better job of processing your Camera Raw images than was its predecessor. So beautiful thing. These images would have inside Photoshop CS1 looked very dark. Now automatically inside of Photoshop CS2, they will look brighter and better.